That's not so bad. Alright, let's get the heck out of here. Alright. Good morning. Oof. Yeah. I need the stuff to melt a little bit. Anyways. If you're not following with what's going on in the world right now, and there's a lot to notice, and I have a lot of thoughts and theories, and they all seem, and they're not my thoughts and theories. They're, there are others too that feel the same way that I do. So I guess, yeah, they're mine too. But it seems pretty obvious that everything is connected, and I think that holds true for a lot of things. I think that the cliche, like, oh, it's a small world, like you run into, I don't know, that's not a good analogy. Like, I feel like I've heard from time to time, I guess going into like universe things and stuff and whatever, was that like I would hear that everything's connected by these scientists and whatever. And I don't think that they meant like the Epstein Files or anything like that, but it really seems like that holds true with, like, I think like they were right and more right than they really were realizing, I think, because it seems pretty obvious that everything is connected, and maybe for some that isn't so obvious. I don't exactly want to say, like, eyes wide shut, but I think in some cases that's true. And also that's a reference to, the movie Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick, who had mysteriously died, before the movie's release. And if you've seen this movie, or if you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend seeing it. I've known about this movie for a while, and part of the reason that I hadn't seen it was I had heard at one point that there was some sort of taboo, weirdness about it. I don't know exactly what it is that was said to me, but I remember hearing about the movie forever ago, and this came out, I think, the same year as The Matrix, if not within a couple of years before or after. But I think it was like 1999 that they were both released. So, anyways, and they both touch on the same things. There's the joke that, like, we're living in the Matrix, we're living in a simulation. I'm not sure that we might have a misunderstanding of what simulation is. When I thought about that before, a simulation was something kind of like, you build a simulator in a computer and then run it. Like, what if the world were, I don't know, always 80 degrees out? What would that look like? And then you give all the parameters, and then you let it run for years and years, thousands of years, whatever it is, and you simulate it, and that's kind of a guess, and you can guess better the more information you have and whatever. In this simulation, my idea is that we are now I don't know. I don't think that we're living in a computer. Maybe we are, and maybe it's one of these like next level computers that's I can't remember what it's called, but it's like nature is the God, I can't remember what the hell it is. Someone was talking about it. It was really interesting. It was the next level of computational power. The next level of CPUs was basically like a completely different way of things processing. Anyways, I'm not saying that that's exactly what this is. What I'm trying to say is I think that the simulation is we're in someone else's experiment that also is of this world. And I think that the Freemasons have something to do with it. And I think this spawns from being free, being able to think and say and do like whatever you want. Not that it makes, doing something's good when they're arguably bad. But actually acting on that is a little different, and I think we the people who should live in a direction of love, coming from love, and love can be expressed in an infinite number of different ways, I think. Because you can have love for your coworkers, you can love your coworkers. Like, I love my coworkers. Like, a lot of them are like awesome. There's other coworkers I have love for, but we don't really jive. But I still have love and respect for them. That like, if they're in need and I could help, or like if they got hurt and I was there to help, like I wouldn't. Like you said some shit to me that one time. So this is like, that's what you fucking get, you fucking loser. Like, I told you you were a piece of shit, and look at you now. Like, I think that is a horrible way to live and approach other people, because sometimes people do things out of they have no other option, and maybe something's eating them up inside and they're having a bad day or something, and they make a bad call, and to not maybe have grace for that person, and not to say that what they did is not wrong, or that they should be, you just turned a blind eye to it, but also them coming to in perspective of like, look, like they're treating me like, I fucked up. That self-reflection of I fucked up. They're taking the time to, I guess, confront me, or like, they're calling me on my shit. So like, let's really sit and think about it. It's kind of like the equivalent of like, go to your room and think about what you did after you did something that you were told not to do, and then really take the time to think, like, what did I do? What did I do so wrong? And was it wrong? Let's see why it's wrong. Let's try to think about why my dad or my mom yelled at me and sent me to my room, or whatever. Having that self-reflection, like, I don't think that makes for a bad person, or like a bad parent. What I think a bad parent is, now that we're touching on that a little bit, is if you're not willing to